Step your biracial ass up.
When you see a class of mulattoes beginning to rise, you are now looking at open warfare. You are about to face assault. I'm telling you now, the mulattoes are here, and they're dangerous.
So I just wanted to, I noticed there was a little bit of homonormative propaganda being kicked out by the, I guess, the mixed and queer community. They call themselves the Golden Sphere, even though no main people are there yet anymore. And it's just a really quick one. Now, obviously, she's aware that this is debunked. I debunked this like 100 times. I'm going to make another video debunking this. This is where they, where the blacks try to shame you into the term mulatto being it's from a like ancient. Not you from like you're from like a what is it? What is a mule? A donkey and a horse. Like when a horse and a donkey mate. And so black people, especially pro-blacks from the beginning, have really created this fear around us using the word. They've created like this propaganda that of what it means. And so I've done my research on it, and there's so many reasons why we would still use it, especially even because of destigmatization. But remember, this all comes from black people who don't want us to be, who don't want us to have our own group. Okay. Now, as far as I'll let it play, but again, if anybody gives like just somebody on TikTok as like a resource, this is not a source. You can't do that. This is just some random person who has no better of an opinion than, let's say, the future is golden, right? What I mean is that to have a true affirmation, you need to get somebody who's like, who's not just an everyday person like you that's talking. Like maybe if the person had like some kind of credibility or is coming from a different group or a different perspective, that would be good. But this is never a source. Like this is never a source.
Asked here is, what does the word mulatto mean? Mulatto is an outdated term. We don't use it anymore.
We do.
Used to qualify somebody who is multiracial or biracial, usually someone whose lineage.
No, that wouldn't be true anyways. It wasn't just any race, right? There's no mulatto, Asian, and white people.
White and
so
black racial groups. The word mulatto is derived from the Spanish and Portuguese words for the word mule.
Mule, yeah. Well, no. Let's be careful. No. Let's be careful. No. The word in mule is the term mule comes beyond that. It comes from Greek, ancient Greek, actually, and so it's incorporated in Spanish because basically a lot of this got incorporated into Latin. So when Romans took over, like they spread Latin, which became the main, right? And so that's coming through that. That's where that comes from. And it's used as an analogy to being a mixed breed. That's it, a mixed breed. And we are mixed breeds. And back then, that language about like when you say breeding humans, that wasn't as like taboo to say. That was normal talk. Right now, we don't speak like that. But at the time, that was normal talk. That wasn't necessarily bad. But black people specifically have kind of created this this thing around it based on a fear that will identify it to our own people to prevent us. And so a lot of these people, these are like cool mulattoes. A lot of the reason why you see this with mulattoes is because they're playing the victim point games, and they're trying to be like, oh, this is just another, like they want to get that victim point even of their name that we're like oppressed too, and we are, of course, but that's where it's coming from. It's not coming from a position of recognizing even your own group, but trying to fit in with blackness, right? That's what I think. But I found something interesting today, and I guess that's what inspired me to do this. Was I found this tweet today when I was looking, when I was making connections on YouTube. On Twitter, I found this very interesting thread here, where it says Chief Red Hawk of the Cherokee'ka Indian Nation gives clarity to the significance of mulatto and its usage to blur the identity of this tribe and most indigenous people in America on documented records. So this is a very whole new take. I'm not gonna take it with a grain of salt. Again, these are just a guy on Twitter. I mean, maybe, but the fact that he's a different kind of person from an Indian perspective, it does give it a little more of an affirmation. It gives us a different perspective on the origins, right, than you might get with or the other one is blackwash complete, right? Blackwash, and it's meant to it's designed to prevent us from not separating from blackness. Okay, well, let's look at this. So this guy is saying that a mulatto in its original usage basically was the identity of his tribe, and most indigenous, it used to refer to indigenous only. That's what he's trying to say. That's what he's saying, which is very weird. Okay, let's listen to what he has to say. for the the people who want to do the research people. You know,
Mulatto, I mean, the first.
The dumb are not going to like this. They're going to be. They're not going to like. They don't like facts. They don't like. They don't like things that can be tested.
And then
Hell yeah.
was what was brought about during the plecharism. So when you're doing genealogy, people, now native people, my people, as mulatto. Okay. Now that was a term that not necessarily mean half white, half black, or half Indian, half white, or half Indian, half black. It was a term that the colonials created back in the early 1700s, and in reality, in many cases, it means purebred Native American. And that term mulatto, I mean, the first one was 1824, the first Racial Integrity Act, 1824, and then 1924 was the last one in Virginia that was brought about during the plecharism. So when you're doing genealogical searches, unless you can talk to your ancestors, your parents, your grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and I tell people when I do presentations, talk to your people and ask from whence came I, so I can know how far I still have to go, okay? Because, go ahead, I'm sorry. Now
this is a take. What's interesting is I mean it's a very unique take from I guess his own tradition or what he remembers, but it's just more. It's a little more information here that it's not so simple where it came from. Where I'm using it is simply that the fact that it was the first to mean mixed race black and white, which is funny because the definition actually, if you go look, the definition was specifically of a white and a black. So by definition of saying that. Well, it can't be of a horse and a mule because it can't be of a horse and a donkey because they're not. They're clearly not. They're just using the terminology, the breeding terminology, which was normal back then, right? It might not seem like that now. It might seem like but it was normal back then. So it's not necessarily hostile as they try to make it. And of course, people who are woke, like if they're like STW woke, they've been told that it's hostile, and that's because they're not because they don't want a race. They want everybody either one. They don't want them to separate. So they've been told all these stories. Now here you see, I don't know about this guy if he's thinking he's Indian or something. Be clear, mulatto does not automatically mean pure blood Indian in every case. Those are two different. I hate the word classification. Those are two different classifications. Anyone with indigenous American Indian ancestry can legally be an Indian, right? Mulatto is pertaining to indigenous people who may or may not be mixed. Weird, okay? In many cases, they were naturally medium to light brown shades with no recent admixture. The term simply exists as a detective colonialism. I'm not buying that. Not buying that one. Seen it on a census reports, hidden history, but things are coming out. My great grandmother is a mulatto, but my great grandfather listed as black. Right? This is showing like a history, right? So if you look back, you look at the records. They are mulatto. They are mulattoes. So yeah, there's a lot more to the story than just like the black scare away tactic. And the definition is that's black and white. So let's go with that. Let's go with that. All right, that's all. Just a quick thing I noticed, and I want to talk about it in contrast. And I might look into this, just look into it a bit more, and see about how much credence there is to this. All right. Well, that's it. That was just a quick pop up. That's literally how small
When you
it was.
hear a notification
5,000.
chime, you can press and hold the action button to listen to the notification.
So yeah, 5,000 guys.